I was standing in the middle of my father's office when the detective looked me straight in the eyes and said my name like it already belonged in a courtroom. Naomi Parker, you are under investigation for money laundering. My fingers tightened around the strap of my handbag. My father, Grayson Parker, didn't even look at me. He just adjusted his cufflinks like this was another routine business inconvenience. I told you, he said calmly to the detective. She's been handling some accounts on her own lately. The room felt smaller. My chest tightened as I turned toward him. Dad, what are you saying?
He finally looked at me.
But there was no confusion in his eyes.
No hesitación.
Only calculation. I'm saying, he continued evenly, that I had no knowledge of what she was doing. My stomach dropped so hard it felt physical. The detective shifted his attention back to me. We've traced multiple suspicious transactions through accounts registered under your name. That's not possible, I whispered. But even as I said it, something inside me started unraveling. Because I knew those accounts. My father had asked me to sign documents months ago. He had said it was for tax structuring, for efficiency, for the family business. I turned toward my mother, Evelyn Parker, who was standing near the door. She wasn't crying. She wasn't shocked. She was watching. Quiet. Measured. Mom, tell them, I said, my voice breaking. Tell them I didn't do anything. She exhaled slowly. Then she said the words that changed everything. Naomi, your father can't risk his reputation. The silence that followed was louder than anything I had ever heard. Trying to understand. Trying to find some trace of the woman who used to tuck me into bed and tell me I was her whole world. But she wasn't there. Not anymore. This is a misunderstanding, I said, my voice trembling. Dad, just explain it. Tell them what those accounts were for. But he didn't move, didn't speak,
didn't defend me.
Instead, he leaned slightly toward the detective. If you need documentation, my legal team can cooperate fully. Something inside me snapped. You asked me to sign those papers, I said louder now. You told me it was for the company. His eyes flickered. Just for a second. Then he straightened. I don't recall that. The betrayal hit deeper than anger. Deeper than fear. It felt like erasure. Like my entire existence was being rewritten in real time. The detective cleared his throat. Miss Parker, we'll need you to come with us for further questioning. I looked at my mother one last time. She held my gaze. But she didn't step forward.
Didn't stop them.
Didn't say my name. And in that moment, I understood something I had never allowed myself to believe. I was on my own. The interrogation room was cold. Too bright. Too quiet. Every question felt like a trap. Every answer felt insufficient. Why were the accounts in your name? I don't know. Who authorized the transfers? I didn't. Do you expect us to believe that millions of dollars moved without your awareness? I swallowed hard. I trusted my father. The words sounded weak the moment they left my mouth. Trust wasn't evidence. And in that room, evidence was everything. Hours passed. Or maybe it was minutes. Time stopped making sense. Eventually, a lawyer walked in.
Young. Sharp. Composed.
Naomi, I'm Ethan Caldwell, he said. I've been appointed as your counsel for now. For now? I asked. He gave a small nod. Your family hasn't retained private representation for you. That shouldn't have hurt. But it did.
Deeply.
Of course they haven't, I said quietly. Ethan studied me for a moment. Then he leaned forward slightly. Tell me everything, he said. And for the first time that day, someone sounded like they actually wanted the truth. So I told him. About the documents. About the accounts. About how my father had always controlled everything. Every decision. Every signature. Every move. Ethan listened without interrupting. But his expression shifted as I spoke. Not disbelief. Something else. Concern. When I finished, he sat back in his chair. This isn't random, he said. I know, I replied. He hesitated. Then he asked the question that changed the direction of everything. Naomi, did you ever question why everything was in your name? I opened my mouth to answer. Then stopped. because suddenly I remembered something. A conversation. Months ago. My father insisting I handle a few things independently. My mother encouraging me to be more involved. At the time, it had felt like trust, like inclusion, like growth. Now it felt like positioning. I think, I said slowly, they were preparing this. Ethan didn't respond immediately, but his silence confirmed it. Days turned into weeks. The investigation intensified. News outlets picked up the story. Daughter of finance executive under federal scrutiny. My face was everywhere, but my father's name stayed clean, untouched, untarnished. My mother gave a statement, carefully worded, emotionally distant. Our family is cooperating fully with authorities. No mention of me. No defense.
No denial.
Just distance. Legal distance. Ethan worked relentlessly, digging through records, tracing transactions, looking for anything that could prove I wasn't the one behind it. But the evidence was overwhelming. Every account, every transfer, every signature, all led back to me, until one night everything shifted. Ethan called me late. His voice was different.
Urgent.
Naomi, I need you to come in, he said. When I arrived, he had files spread across his desk. Highlighted. Flagged. Organized. What is it? I asked. He looked at me. Then he said something I wasn't prepared for. I think your father didn't just frame you. My breath caught. What do you mean? He slid a document toward me. Look at the timestamps. I scanned the page. Transactions.
Dates. Times.
At first, it looked like more of the same. Then I noticed it. Several transfers had been authorized while I was out of the country. On record.
Documented.
Impossible for me to execute. I wasn't even in the country, I said. Exactly, Ethan replied. My heart started racing. This proves it, right? I asked. That I didn't do it? Ethan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he pulled out another document. This proves something else too. I frowned. What? He met my eyes. Your father had access to your credentials. The room went quiet, because that wasn't just negligence. That was intent. Calculated. Deliberate. He used me, I whispered. Ethan nodded slightly. And there's more. He showed me a series of internal emails between my father and a private financial consultant, discussing liability insulation, discussing containment scenarios, discussing me, like I was a variable, not a person. The betrayal hit differently this time. Colder, sharper, more precise. Because now, it wasn't just emotional. It was strategic. He planned this, I said. Yes, Ethan replied. And now we can prove it. The case shifted overnight. Ethan filed motions, submitted new evidence, forced a deeper investigation. And for the first time, my father's name entered the conversation publicly. The reaction was immediate. His company issued statements. His lawyers went on the offensive. My mother finally reached out. After weeks of silence. Naomi, we need to talk, she said over the phone. Her voice sounded softer, almost fragile. But I wasn't the same person anymore. There's nothing to talk about, I replied. He's your father, she insisted. And I was your daughter, I said. The silence on the other end stretched. Then she spoke again. He didn't have a choice. I closed my eyes. There it was. The justification. The loyalty. The same logic that had abandoned me in that office. He always had a choice, I said quietly. And so did you. I hung up before she could respond. The trial was inevitable.
Public. Messy.
Relentless. My father sat across from me in the courtroom, perfectly composed, perfectly dressed, like nothing had changed. But everything had, because this time, I wasn't standing there alone. Ethan presented the evidence methodically. The timestamps, the access logs, the emails. Each piece dismantled the narrative my father had built, piece by piece, layer by layer, until the truth became undeniable. Grayson Parker had orchestrated the entire scheme. And when it became risky, he had shifted the blame.
To me.
The verdict didn't feel like victory. It felt like confirmation, like the final acknowledgement of something I had already lost. My father's reputation didn't survive. His company distanced itself. His name became synonymous with betrayal. My mother never came to the courthouse again. And me? I walked out of that building with my name cleared, but not unchanged. Because some things don't go back. Some relationships don't rebuild. Some truths don't soften. Weeks later, I stood in a small apartment in Boston. No staff.
No luxury.
No family name carrying weight behind me. Just me. And the quiet. Ethan stopped by one afternoon. He looked around, then smiled slightly. Fresh start, he asked. I nodded. Something like that. He hesitated, then added, You handled everything better than most people would. I thought about that. About everything that had happened. About who I had been. And who I had become. It wasn't strength, I said finally. It was survival. After he left, I stood by the window, watching the city move. People living their lives. Unaware. Uninvolved.
Free.
And for the first time in a long time, I felt something unfamiliar. Not anger. Not pain. Not loss.
Space.
Space to rebuild. Space to choose. Space to exist without being used. My father had tried to protect his reputation. My mother had chosen to stand beside him. But in the end, the only thing they lost was me. And that was something no court could ever give back.